that white supremacist 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse.
A 17-year-old vigilante, arguably a domestic terrorist.
Kyle Rittenhouse, a militiaman wannabe.
President Joe Biden, who used a picture of Kyle Rittenhouse as a white supremacist.
Is absolutely white supremacy.
You're innocent.
All right, just a bit of an ad there. Kyle Rittenhouse launching an initiative to combat what he calls lies from powerful media outlets. The Media Accountability Project will be a fundraising tool to take media outlets to court and sue over false stories.
And we have seen that with Nicholas Sandmann. That's not all too recently here, for millions of dollars, by the way. That was a snippet of the campaign. It comes as former President Trump also launching a new social media platform to take on Silicon Valley. Truth Social, it's called. It is still #1. I just checked on the App Store, the Apple App Store. We'll bring our panelists back. Rogan O'Hanley, Kim Klacik, Brandon Straka. Kim, I'll start with you. Your reaction to really what you're seeing, pushback on many levels. One, on big tech, and then two, from Kyle Rittenhouse on mainstream media.
I absolutely love it. I applaud it. I myself am going through a defamation lawsuit, which I am suing someone for talking about me and making up stories and lies just to ruin my life. It's not something that we should tolerate in this country. And I love the fact that Kyle is standing up for himself, because there were a lot of people that were calling him a white supremacist or racist, all of these things that just weren't true. And I hope that he continues forward. As far as Truth Social, President Trump starting his own media company, I think we do need that. We're seeing a lot of different companies standing up and saying, look, you can come to our network and we won't suppress what you have to say, because unfortunately we do have this strange narrative going around, basically trying to ruin people's lives that don't go along with their narrative. So I love the fact that Kyle Rittenhouse is standing up. I think people are concerned, saying that he might not have a case because he's a public figure, but it was the media that made him a public figure. Kyle Rittenhouse was not a public figure before he was being called all those names.
There was a lot of interest in the trial. Of course, this all stemmed from the riots, the heated protests when it comes to the BLM movement back in summer of 2020. And just a reminder for our viewers, here was how some in the media painted Rittenhouse during that time. Take a listen.
I don't see how anybody can say that this judge is not biased and is not leaning in a certain direction.
As long as the judge appears to be tipping the scales of justice in Rittenhouse's favor, the public may not have confidence in the process or the verdict.
This judge has done everything but, offer to adopt Kyle Rittenhouse.
Basically, what they're saying is, oh, it's okay to shoot white people, too.
So those comments were made during the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse. Brandon, considering he's got this new accountability project here, do you think he could win in some of these defamation cases he might be bringing forward?
Well, I certainly hope so. And I stand with Kim, too, when I say, give him hell, Kyle. I'm all for it. I think it's terrific. I think probably every member of this panel has had their experiences with defamation. I certainly have as well. And, the whole point here is some of those clips that you just showed, honestly, they're perfectly fine. If people want to speculate what the judge's position is or throw in a few opinions about what they think is going on in the case, there's no problem with that whatsoever. Where it becomes a problem is when people are entitled to their opinion, but not their own facts. When you have somebody who's on a murder trial and you're having people in the media every day saying he's a murderer, he's a killer, he's a white supremacist. And this is somebody who hasn't been found guilty by a jury of their own peers, or even worse, in the case of Whoopi Goldberg, who after Kyle Rittenhouse was actually found innocent by a jury of his own peers, Whoopi still went on to say he's a murderer, he's a murderer. That's where we're crossing the line. And I think those people have exactly what they have coming to them. I hope Kyle gets them.
Yeah, Rogan O'Hanley, that was Kyle Rittenhouse was on one of the networks, cable news networks last night. He named Whoopi Goldberg based on exactly what Brandon eloquently put, that she still used that term murderer, and others did, even after the trial and the verdict was handed down. Your thoughts?
Well, it looks like Whoopi's having a very bad month. And, we do have the constitutional right to free speech, but that only goes so far. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. You can't accuse people of being criminals when the facts are untrue. And that's what she was doing. So I very much look forward to, Kyle Rittenhouse doing this as well, holding these people accountable, because what underlies a lot of this, and it doesn't really get spoken out as much is there's racism underlying a lot of this. There is anti-white racism. They look at this kid and they say, we don't like him because he's white. And so they try and slander and defame him. And so, if people like me or others on this panel said some of that stuff on social media, we'd be suspended or banned for misinformation. So it's time to hold the elite media people accountable to the truth as well.
Well, we'll see what happens, of course, with that and Truth Social. A lot of people who've tried to sign up have been on a wait list as well. So